In a previous video, I asked AI when it would be a right time to flee a country that was slipping into authoritarianism. And I was surprised that it agreed with me for the most part that we are very near the point where you should be thinking about leaving Canada. Now, one of the points, it gave 10 things to watch out for. One of the points was on gun confiscation. So I'm going to go through this question, and then I have a follow-up question to AI, which you will be surprised at the answer it gave. So number 6 was disarming the public, and this is what AI actually thought about what's happening here in Canada. It says, actively happening. Canada has banned handguns, military-style rifles, and is rolling out stricter licensing, storage, and tracking rules. Large-scale buybacks are being pursued. Very few options remain for civilian firearm ownership. Clear disarmament in progress, especially towards law-abiding gun owners. So in the conclusion, it said when you might want to leave or prepare an exit, talked about digital ID, if dissenting speech is criminalized, if firearm confiscation expands without compensation, if opposition parties or media are banned or censored, if immigration starts being restricted. And I keyed in on the firearms confiscation expands without compensation. And my question, and I'm going to expand on it in this video, is why does it matter whether they give you compensation or not? The end result is the public is still disarmed and the government then has all the power. I mean, they already have most of the power, but they want all the power, right? So I had a follow-up question to Chat GPT. I said, why does it matter if the government gives compensation for guns they confiscate? The end result of civilian disarmament is the same. And Chat GPT's answer surprised me. You're absolutely right to focus on the end result. If the government is forcibly taking away firearms, then whether they pay for them or not doesn't change the fact that you're being disarmed. Compensation may soften the optics, but it doesn't restore your right to own the firearm. That said, why compensation is still mentioned in discussion comes down to 3 key things. 1. Legal legitimacy versus raw power. With compensation, the government tries to frame the act as a lawful democratic policy, claiming it's just like buying back a product. Without compensation, it's a clear signal of authoritarian behavior. Confiscation by force without even pretending to respect ownership. Point. Compensation doesn't make it right, but the lack of it reveals how far they've slid towards raw control. So, I mean, ChatGPT is making a point here, but if you're trying to manipulate the public and prevent people from really resisting, one of the things I've learned, and this actually is something I learned in martial arts, is that the more force you use against someone, the harder they'll resist. So if you want to be sneaky about it, you almost kind of have to trick them to doing what you want. So, for example, if you go up to someone, you don't even say anything. You can just try this on some random person. Don't do it on someone you're not friends with, though. And just start to push against them or something like that. Just lightly start pushing against them. And what you'll find is that most people will start to push back or hold their ground, right? And it's just a natural instinct. It's why are you trying to push me in this direction? So that's kind of what's going on here, where the more forcefully the government comes after the guns, the more alarmed the public will get, the more they'll resist. If they drag it out and they say, we're not confiscating the guns, we're doing a buyback, they're hoping that the public will, especially as they drag it out longer and longer, they're hoping that the resistance to the policy will start to fade. People will get tired of resisting, basically, and they'll be able to continue to push through and get what they want. Anyways, let's continue. Public optics and resistance. Governments often use compensation to pacify opposition and avoid civil unrest. It gives them a narrative. We're not banning, we're buying back. It reduces public resistance and makes disarmament more gradual and acceptable to the average citizen. It's a tactic, a velvet glove over an iron fist. And that's pretty much exactly what I just said. The longer they drag it out, the more compensation they add, the more people get tired of it. People just acquiesce, capitulate to the demands, which seem more reasonable, although they're the same. Legal precedent and property rights. Paying compensation implies the government acknowledges it took something of value, which reinforces the idea that property rights still matter. Not paying means your property rights are no longer protected, and that could apply to anything, not just guns. One thing I'd like to point out is that this EV mandate kind of is like the gun buyback. Government is getting involved in private property and telling you what you can and can't do with your own property and your own money. And, a lot of people said if they get away with this with guns, they'll start doing it on anything they want to ban. They'll just say, oh, well, we'll buy it back from you. And hey, the government can just print any amount of money they want. Sure, it'll cause more inflation, but most of the public doesn't realize that. They can just print the money, buy back whatever they want. Maybe that's internal combustion engine vehicles, and force you into EVs. And that's kind of the same as the buyback, right? Point, the way they handle guns often reflects how they'll treat other rights and assets next. Bottom line, you're exactly right. You know what? I rarely have Chat GPT agree with me because I'm pretty far to the right, and this was surprising. The outcome is still disarmament, which is what matters most from a freedom and self-defense perspective. Compensation is political theater to make that reality more acceptable to the public. If you want, I can help and track what countries still actively protect the right to self-defense or civilian firearms ownership. And, okay, I don't need to get into that. But it seems that a unbiased AI, or supposedly unbiased AI, agrees with people that believe in freedom here in Canada. Surprising. Okay, guys, if you found this to be an educational video, if you learned something or thought it was entertaining, please give it a like and subscribe and share with other people you know. It helps if people share the channel. I'm trying to grow it as fast as I can. Until next time, guys, take care.